I'm Dwight Kahn from Epiphany Parish, Seattle, where I've been rector for the past 16 years. Given my post here in one of the nation's epicenters for AI development, a key part of my ministry has been thinking about what AI means for Christians, and particularly the church. My uh-oh moment came when Sam Altman and OpenAI, out of nowhere it seemed to me, showed up with ChatGPT. Suddenly AI was in the public's mind, and so as a preacher in my mind as well. That was November 2022. So I immersed myself in books and articles and podcasts and movies. And as I did, it became pretty clear to me that some very bright people had been thinking about this for a long time. And that in the not so distant future, when synthetic biology and quantum computing and generative artificial intelligence had a meetup, everything in the universe would change, being done better, faster, cheaper, safer by robots or cyborgs. And what that means, quite possibly, is that we humans may well lose our status atop the evolutionary ladder. No longer the most knowledgeable, forfeiting our title as Homo sapiens, which means knowledge bearers. Stunning thought. Which led to the next thought. Then what is our role? Who are we? What does it mean to be human? So I flipped open the Bible, turned to the Gospel of Luke, chapter 10. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself. You've probably heard that text. This has always been my go-to for what it means to be human. Jesus' words from Deuteronomy and Leviticus, a mashup of the physical and metaphysical, temporal and eternal, material and ethereal, defining our hybrid nature. But suddenly, the physical, temporal, material was being challenged. The robot's potential advantage as better, faster, cheaper, safer, if not nicer and more patient, threatened to accelerate past our capacity, stepping with a big foot upon our supremacy in body and mind, not to mention the capacity to be the best neighbor. Evolution at work? I think so. But here's the insight. Not from humans to robots, but from Homo sapiens, knowledge bearers, to Homo anima, soul bearers. This insight, this revelation came to me from a movie, from Blade Runner 2049, from Kay the Replicant. See, Kay's job was to work as an assassin for the police department, putting an end to rogue replicants. The police chief asked him to assassinate a human being, and he paused. And the chief pushed, asking, "So what's the big deal?" To which Kay said he had never killed a human. The chief quipped, "What does it matter?" To which Kay responded, "To be born is to have a soul. Homo anima. We are soul bearers." This is an identity, incidentally, with a theological title. The royal priesthood. 1 Peter chapter 2. You are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's own people, in order that you may proclaim the mighty acts of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. The royal priesthood is not about function. It's not a job description. It is a theological declaration. As AI systems displace humans in intellectual, administrative, and creative tasks, there is a risk of reducing human dignity because of our lack of efficient utility. But the royal priesthood insists otherwise. Our worth is not what we do. It is who we are as soul-bearing creatures, a distinction granted not by merit, but by divine injunction. My thinking on what it means to be human coalesced in May 2023 when I preached a sermon series on AI. They have within them 5 theological foci that we as preachers and teachers of Christian communities should double down on as we form members of the royal priesthood. They are the Trinity Imago Dei, incarnation, sin, and the church. First, the Trinity. Our God is a relational God, made of love, connected by love, producer of love. Love is the binding agent within God in the milieu which connects all creation, seen and unseen. Love permeates the physical and the metaphysical, the temporal and the eternal, right? The material and the ethereal. And our role is to be both the recipients and the articulators of this love, standing in that liminal space within and between all things. This is the unique function of the royal priesthood. The second is Imago Dei. We are made in the image and likeness of God. That returns us to Luke chapter 10, where we find in the statement of what it means to be human that we are 3 parts physical, body, mind, neighbor, and 2 parts metaphysical, heart and soul. These are what we need to double down on, the heart and the soul, the metaphysical, in this age of AI, for they are what make us uniquely human. The soul is the ontological anchor to God. The soul comes from God, stays connected to God, returns to God. The soul is a theological and existential claim. It is the central truth about who we are. It is what affirms the full dignity of every single human being. The heart, on the other hand, is the home of human freedom, where God withdrew God's preference in favor of our choice. This, of course, was out of love, for there is no true love if there is no authentic freedom. Heart and soul are the 2 unique human attributes core to Imago Dei. The third is incarnation. Incarnation is where it all plays out. To be born is to have a body. The body is the sacred place through which the divine drama of the kingdom of God is revealed by the royal priesthood. It is through our bodies that the soul is experienced, the heart is formed. And then the fourth is sin, because we are free to get it wrong. Sin's a necessary component of freedom. For without sin, there is no possibility of love. While machines can be programmed to behave flawlessly, or they can be programmed to make mistakes, because they have no agency, they cannot sin, and thus they cannot truly know love. The royal priesthood is marked not by a need for perfection, but by the freedom to experience or deny the love of God. Which brings us to number 5, the mission of the church, the work of the royal priesthood, our work. The church is the place we practice being human, where we learn and perfect the spiritual exercises of heart formation, where we worship the God who holds in trust our souls. The church is the place where we are called to live as neighbors, not nodes. In a time when AI threatens to displace human roles and redefine human values, Christianity's commitment to embodied worship, heart formation, and the soul-bearing dignity of every human being becomes newly relevant. This is not a time for the church to retreat, but to reclaim its mission, to form a people who can love wisely, live justly, and resist being measured by what machines can mimic. This is the vocation of the royal priesthood, the work of the church, and it's needed now more than ever. The future is arriving quickly, and it will bring with it extraordinary disruption in economic and educational and political life. Our task is not to match pace with innovation, but to bear the weight of human dignity. We are the soul bearers. We are the heart formers. We are the redeemed sinners. We are the embedded witnesses of divine love. We are the royal priesthood. Let us not forget who we are. Let us take up the full measure of our calling. Let us carry it, not as a banner of resistance, but as a blessing for a world that desperately needs us to remember what it means to be human.